guys, welcome back to another edition of Simply Fit. I'm your host, Sandy White, and on today's segment, we have Miss Ann Papayoti on, and she's going to be talking about her number one best-selling book, The Gift, with her life coach. Tracy is not going to be on, but she did the book with Miss Tracy McDonald. But guys, she's an international life, leadership, and relationship coach, and she's on our show today to share with us all about waking up individuals so that they can live their best life and align with their values so that they can connect to their higher purpose. And remember, guys, I always tell you guys, being fit is more than just exercise. And also, the reason we like having guests on like Miss Ann, because she aligns with what our purpose is. And our purpose is to help save 1 million lives by encouraging individuals to live a simply fit life so that they are able to overcome suicide and depression through health and nutrition. And if you're stuck, this is what causes, outside of the health and nutrition, but if you're stuck in your mind with those challenges that are occurring in your life, that is a catapult that is going to push you over into suicide and depression. And she's got tips and strategies that'll help you guys. But before we bring Miss Ann on, I do want to thank WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network for allowing us to come onto their show and be on their platform, because we would not be able to encourage as many individuals as they're able to on a monthly, yearly basis. So thank you, WYTV7. And one last thing, guys, they allowed us to do a 30-minute free consultation. So go take advantage of it. Go to the website, sign up so that you can get a game plan for your health and wellness, so you can jumpstart it, you can maintain it, you can increase it, you can do whatever you want, but with a strategic game plan so you have no excuses. So without further ado, let's bring Miss Ann onto the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I love your smile. And it does
Oh,
not align with what I was reading about what's going on. And so I'm so happy for you to come on. And guys, don't take pity on her. She look at this beautiful face. She wants you all to look just as beautiful as she is. So please take lots and lots and lots of notes. So let's jump into this, Miss Ann. What was the catapult for you to really get started in writing this book? Because you said Miss Tracy was your life coach. So the connection between what was going on and the life coach, fill me in and the
oh,
audience.
absolutely. First of all, I applaud what you do and your mission. Bravo. Congrats. It's so amazing. And I know that you're going to reach that goal. And I'm so proud of you and proud to be here with you for that purpose. And so Tracy and I actually are both life coaches, and we met at a training event. So we're colleagues actually. And at that event, we recognized that we just gravitated to one another, and we loved the opportunity to talk and to share, but we actually coached one another. So yes, she's my coach in that way, and I've been hers, because we all need someone to help us see through our own stuff. When we're in something, we can't see beyond it. And so it's
Right.
always good to have someone to help you have clarity. And so Tracy and I did that for one another as colleagues and friends. But this book came about because we had actually started collaborating on material, because we loved talking about the ability that we all have to shift our mindset and absolutely change how we experience life, even though we can't change our circumstances oftentimes. And so we started creating content and created workshops together. And we were both living in Canada at the time, and she would fly to my province and we would deliver it, and I'd fly to hers and we'd deliver it. And we had one workshop titled The Gift of Shift, which is the title of this book. And a few years later, I was always after her, we should write a book together. And that was really on my heart, not on her. She does not like to write. She's a blogger. She's more video oriented, as you are. And she finally, I think, succumbed to my pressure. But she had a moment, and I think it was divinely inspired. And she said, yes, I think it's time and I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. And so here it is.
Oh, that is awesome. One of the things that I heard you say, which is so profound, you guys were one another's life coach. And a lot of times when people are drowning in whatever it is that they're drowning in, that self confidence is low and they don't trust folks. But the key is get a coach. So, without going too far off the track, what would be some suggestions on how they can get a life coach? What are some things that to make sure they get a good one like you or Miss Tracy?
I think it's good to look for someone who's in the area that you're experiencing. So, you know that saying that says, tell the story of the mountain you climbed and it'll become a page in someone else's survival guide. I think when there's someone who's been down the path ahead of you, especially if you're in that dark place, like when Tracy and I became one another's colleagues and started coaching each other through what we are going through, we weren't in dark places, but where we'd been before, I didn't even know what a coach was. And I really, really recognized the benefit that a coach could have been for me because I hid. I hid in my darkness. And I was, I think I felt like Eve behind the fig leaf. There was shame and there were these things about that I didn't want people to know, that I felt like a failure, and I felt humiliation and I felt shame. And so I didn't seek help in the way that I could. And I think if there had been at the time something like a coach available to me, I would have grabbed onto it, or I'd like to think that I would have. And a coach, if you think about this, think about sports. I think we can all relate to that. A coach is a partner. They're on the team with you. They just know a little bit more about the game, perhaps, and they're going to help you strategize and come up with a game plan. And they're going to watch you play the game of life. And then they're going to say, what would be different if you cut left instead of right? And what would be different if you ran up the middle? I was a football mom, so I'm thinking football right now. And what would be different, if you threw a pass right now instead of always trying to run the ball? And the coach would help them learn to fall forward and recognize that that's a gain and not a loss when they fall. And that's what I love about coaching. It's sort of action oriented, solution focused. Let's set a goal. Let's move forward towards it and learn what are the obstacles that maybe blindside you and knock you down or seem to sideline you. And let's get back out there and let's keep going and let's do it. But let's also sit and then review it like they do, game reels. Let's sit and review it week to week and see, what's happening, what's getting in the way. Because it might be something from the past. It might be thoughts that I don't think I can do this. Okay, well, why? What is it? Where's it coming from? And we'll sort through it. And maybe we need to try a different route this next week to try to get to the next place.
I love it. You hit on some more nuggets. A lot of people hide, and when they hide, those are the very areas that's stopping them from getting to their success. And one of the things I love, I mean, they're kind of cute, so I want you to address kind of like a twofold. You gave
Okay.
some of your titles really cute names, but they're applicable. Like I could figure out some of them, but you're gonna have to do the rest. Like the gift of a band-aid. It's almost like, okay, let's just stop the bleeding for right now so you can get moving. And then you got the Charlie Brown. I didn't get that one because he's kind of a goof, but I'm not sure I'm on the right track with that one. And then of course we all know, the gift of grit. I mean, you put your nose down to the grind and just go for it. But what were some of the most difficult challenges when you were writing a book? Because like you said, you hid behind it, but you're so much further ahead. So did it take you back to a dark place, or was it just a way to you can think to say, here's a strategic plan of action if you're in this place, since you, like you said, a coach is ahead of the game?
Yeah, there you go. It, in a way, putting our stories in writing opened up some vulnerability for sure. Now, I've led support groups for divorce for 25 years. So I've shared some of my stories of loss and transition and triumph verbally for a long, long time. And I work with adults in personal development and growth, and I've dealt with grief. I lost a son. And that's the story, the gift of Charlie Brown. So I'll explain. So good grief, is Charlie Brown's little mantra. So I'll tell you a little more about that in a moment. But verbally, I've been very comfortable in sharing my stories openly to help other people then get comfortable in revealing their own. But putting it in writing, there was a vulnerability. But Tracy's and my goal in the way we designed this book is a collection of short, personal, sometimes quite intimate stories told not because the reader's stories will be necessarily the same as ours, but each one is a common life theme. We've all dealt with betrayal on some level. We've all had to find courage to do something we knew we had to do. We've all had to hold on to hope at some point. We've all had to find courage and that grit that I'm talking about and go for it. We've all had to find a way to be true to ourselves in life, right? And much more, how to quiet that inner voice. There's just so much. So there's 12 of these kinds of common life themes. Behind each of our stories, we then ask the reader to reflect on their own life with this theme, and we guide them. We don't just say, go for it, figure it out. We ask coaching questions. So there's 5 questions for the reader behind each chapter for them to answer. So they have this time of stillness and reflection, which I think is so important for people. And then there's like a journal area for them to write their own story from this theme. So the goal is to inspire people from our stories to reveal their own, because often we hear our own truth in someone else's story, that little nugget, that little piece, even though the story's different. And one thing I would say, Sandy, is that, sometimes the story, they're going to go, yeah, I did that. I got through that. Okay, great. Then as you do the reflection, be reminded of what it was about you that got you through that. So you can use that as a strength now to get through whatever it is you're facing now. Or perhaps you're going to say, you know what? That's why I still have these kind of conflicts. I'm still carrying that from that story, that thing in my life. And that's what's happening now, so that they can get unstuck and move on.
I love it. And then you hit on another keynote, which is to be still and listen to your inner voice. But what are the tips that you can give to the audience when their inner voice is betraying them? Because sometimes, folks, they want to play the victim, and you're teaching them not to do that. So real quick, because we're going to take a commercial break real quick, but what are some quick tips or strategies that they can use so they can stop sabotaging themselves?
Oh, absolutely. First is awareness. You got to recognize that is, you always have that voice with you. It's like, think of it as your friend. Do you want it to be your best friend? Do you want it to be your cheerleader or your critic? Okay. So the first, you've got to have awareness, and then choose change. Recognize that it's underserving you, and it's your choice how it's going to speak to that inner voice. So be your own best friend. That's one of the chapters in the book.
I love it. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back with Miss Ann, and we're going to go over some more stuff, because she got something in here about the grid of JOMO and FOMO. We all know what fear of missing out is, but I ain't never heard of JOMO, so we're going to start back with that one after the commercial. All right, guys, we'll be back.
Calling all HBCU alumni, supporters, and golfers. It's that time of year again. Yes, the HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams Charity Golf Tournament on Tuesday, April 5th. If you missed the last one, you have time once again to be epic. Don't miss the golf tournament of the year, the Swing Into Their Dreams HBCU Charity Golf Tournament at the Atlanta National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia, Tuesday, April the 5th. Registration begins now. Sign up your golf teams at swingintotheirdreams.com. That's swingintotheirdreams.com, or call 770-686-7148. That's 770-686-7148. Don't miss it.
Hey guys, we're back from our commercial break. I'm Sandy White, the host of Simply Fit, and your number one health and wellness cheerleader. And we've been talking the first part of the segment with Miss Ann. And now that we're back from our commercial break, We need her to tell us what JOMO is because I have no clue what that is.
Well, JOMO is the opposite of FOMO. As you said, FOMO is an acronym for fear of missing out. JOMO is joy of missing out. And
Oh.
yeah, so it really is a mindset. And ultimately, I think, when the pandemic hit, we all were faced with that. It's either, we get to stay home. All right, woo, joy, or we have to stay home. We're stuck at home. That was, the fear of missing out. So it's a mindset in what you're going to do with it. And you know how a lot of people started learning how to bake or garden. They took that same situation that everybody was in at the same time, and they did something joyful with it. They created something new. And other people were stuck in, frustration of the loss. They focused on the loss and what they didn't have rather than what they could do with it or what they did have because of it. And that's JOMO versus FOMO. So
I
it's a
love it.
Mhm.
I love it because you hit it with the pandemic. People are blaming the pandemic for everything. It stole my joy. It stole my this. It stole me that. So you're basically saying, "Shut up. That's not working." But you didn't say it. I said, "Shut up." She did not say, "Shut up." She said nicely, "Joy of missing out." But let me ask you this. Okay, so here's another good one. So the subtitle is "Discover the Key Within to Unlock Your Best Life." Now, does that imply the answers that you have the answer within you, or does that imply something different?
That implies the answers are within you. That says it's in us and up to us to live our best life. We have to unwrap the gift. That's why the book is The Gift of Shift. The gift is there for you to open it if you choose to. So again, the power that we have is choice as human beings. It's choice. Now, when someone is stuck in a victim or conflict mindset, that's a catabolic negative energetic state. And when you use the word depression, depression's the bottom of that in the victim state. And when someone is hurting in their mindset, they just want the pain to stop. And I lost a sister-in-law to suicide, so I understand this. And when someone is in that dark place, they don't see options. They don't see options. And so I understand why someone could make the choice to take their life because they want the pain to stop and they see no other option. But listeners, there are other options. There are other options. We have to find that way to get out of that. I call it a lazy 8. It's that infinity sign laying on its side. Some of us are stuck just at the bottom of it, and we need help. It takes courage. It's not a weakness to ask for help. We can't all get out of it on our own. Others of us get stuck in helpless, hopeless, defeated on this side of it. Others go a do loop back and forth between that and anger, frustration, hate, and blame, and all of that energy. The only way out of that is up. And that's taking responsibility for our outcomes. And that means, and here's the F word in my business, and no, you don't have to bleep it. It is forgiveness. Forgiveness. And it's forgiveness for yourself. It's not for others. It's for yourself. And it's just about letting go of anything and anyone that would pull you back down into that. So those are thoughts. This is all about what we're thinking. We're the ones creating the story around our experience that keeps creating the pain. So it's fear. It's all fear-based that keeps us stuck down. I call it the black hole because that's a powerful energetic force that's sucking us into this helpless, hopeless, defeated place. And the thoughts that are ruminating in our head, it's like a movie that we just keep watching over and over and over. We have to press stop. And that's taking responsibility and saying, I don't know what's up there, but I'm going up. Okay. I'm going up and I'm going to let go of whatever is tethered to my ankle and keeps pulling me down. I'm going to let go of it. And those are the thoughts about my experiences, my fears, my worries, my concerns. I'm going to let them go just so I'm not pulled back down, so I can cooperate in my own life, in my own healing. So you mentioned the Band-Aid before. It's not about just sticking a Band-Aid on it and minimizing my experience. No, it's saying, I'm going to validate my experience. This hurts, whatever it is, this loss, this experience, whatever I've gone through, this emotional trauma. And by the way, research says experiencing even one emotional trauma in life without developing a healing resiliency can, have a lifetime impact on our overall health and well-being. So that tells me that our happiness and life satisfaction are directly anchored to untangling from our past and healing our hearts. And that's how I see people that are down there, because I've been there. And it's the thoughts of what's already happened. That's over. So how can we let it go? The lesson's always in letting go, Sandy. Letting go so that I can get here, come out of that, take responsibility for creating the life that I deserve. It's letting go of the thought, which releases the feeling, so I can recover and revive my life. And that's why I have this soul CPR program that I talk about. We got to recover who we are and get back in alignment with who we were created to be.
I love it. So basically scrap and rework. So just break that record, put a big scratch, because when you play a record, it sounds good, but when you put too many scratches in it, it's, you get that crazy loop. That's not what she wants. We want to scrap, rework, break it, so you can move forward. I love it. So talk a little bit about the programs that you currently have, how they can get them, and then how, if they're in your area, how they can get in touch with you as a life coach. And if they're not in your area, is there a national link or something that they can go to find their state?
Okay, absolutely. So first of all, life coaches are not bound by state lines like therapists are and counselors. So I can work with anyone, anywhere. I work with people internationally. And so I work on Zoom, just like you and I are talking now. And I'm in the Dallas, Texas area. I can work with people in person. So virtual mental health and guidance is kind of a common theme now. That's something that has become the norm from COVID. So don't hesitate to find the person that's right for you. You can just Google. Google's one of those tech tools we can all use for someone. You can go to my website specifically, which is skyviewcoaching.com, and to reach to me. And if I ever am working with someone, just so you know, that I find they're not ready for coaching, I can determine that within 2 to 3 sessions. They're not ready for coaching if they're not taking the actions, because I can help them come up with the game plan, and we can start reviewing because I hold them accountable. We have homework but if they're not able, willing's one thing, able's another. If they're not able, I'm going to refer them to a therapist that's right for them. I'll discern kind of where they're stuck and what the issue is, and try to get them to the right modality. Sometimes I work in tandem with a therapist or a counselor so that we can help them clear a deeper trauma while we're also taking action to move forward in life with the tools that coaching offers, which are sometimes a little more unique and tailored for growth. So know that. But there's sometimes in psychology today, you can also find coaches or therapists that combine the two practices. And I also write for an online magazine, Your Tango, and as a relationship expert. So there's also a list of coaches there that you can go on. If you want someone in person specifically for your area, you can find them there. And as far as programs, they're on my website. Yeah.
So go a little bit deeper real quick, because I don't want to run out of time before you tell them about the Soul CPR mini course that you have.
Okay, so that I'm offering to as a free gift to your listeners, so they can go to it's hidden on the website just because it's an offering to audiences as I speak. So if you can put that as a link in your anything you put out, it's going to be skyviewcoaching.com/soul hyphen CPR hyphen free hyphen gift. I believe is what it is. Yes. You'll make that available to them when you post things. That is available to your audience as a free gift. It's a short video introduction and a 3-part step to take them through. The C is kind of connecting the dots of the past. We have to look backwards to understand how we arrived where we are. P, pinpoint the pain that you're holding on to that's keeping you kind of stuck in the past in some way. And then the R is recover the truth of who you are, help you kind of reconnect to yourself so that you can then start moving forward. And if you need additional help after there's resources in that to tell you how to connect with me for some either individual coaching or how I can guide you from that point.
So your book, The Gift of Shift, Discover the Key Within to Unlock Your Best Life, they can get that on your website or only on Amazon or both?
They can, I don't sell it directly, but there is a link on my website. They can get it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, whatever online bookseller they prefer. Or if they want to support their local bookseller, any bookseller can order it from their Ingram Sparks catalog.
We have had an outstanding time with Miss Ann, guys. I'm your host, Sandy White, your #1 health and wellness cheerleader. Rebroadcast every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And before we end our episode, Miss Ann, I think we got about 3 minutes. What's the key takeaways you want the listeners to have, or some suggestions that will just get them jump started?
I would ask them to notice their life, pay attention. That's the whole waking up thing. Wake up, notice your life, and pay attention. What has a grip on your heart? What story? It may be a story, from your past, maybe what's happening right now, and what is holding you back from living your best life. And it may be a story that's yet unwritten. Are you sitting on the sidelines? As I said, as a coach, I look at how you play the game of life, and that's how we start creating that game plan. But maybe you're sitting on the sidelines of life. So maybe it's a story yet unwritten. But notice what has a grip on your heart, because it's calling you in some way.
I love it. I love it. Guys, we are out of time. But please go and get Miss Ann's book, The Gift. She said it's on Amazon. It's The Gift of Shift, Discover the Key Within to Unlock Your Best Life. We have had an outstanding time. Thank you so much, Miss Ann, for coming on to the show. And guys, check out all of the resources that she has. Until next week, see you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Sandy.